Hello again, and welcome back to Illegally Cited. This is Jesse, aka BGFH, and I am back in this little VR experience here. This time we're going to do kind of a little channel update slash rambling video, give you guys kind of uh, another kind of update where the channel is, some plans for the immediate future, some ramblings about some other stuff that's going to be going on here pretty soon. And then a few thoughts on a whole bunch of tech events that are happening right around the time that I'm recording this. And, a little bit of, like I said, just kind of I wouldn't say monthly, but every month or two doing one of these kind of channel update videos. And right now we are sitting in an app, a VR experience called Nature Treks VR. I did a separate video for it, but haven't unlocked it for you guys quite yet, that details this experience in more detail, like the mechanics and the accessibility of it. But we're just using this environment here. We're in the wilderness, and you hear some birds and critters and whatever somewhere here. And we're just going to wander through this landscape and so you guys have something interesting to look at while I do the video. So, starting with the channel update, like I said, I don't know that I'm going to do these every month. I've thought about making it a monthly thing, but I don't really want to make it like a rigid thing that I want to, I have regular content twice a week, if not more. And I kind of really want to just do these when I have something that I really want to say. Maybe I want to talk about some event, or some topic that's really on my mind. Um, I'll use these videos for that, give you channel updates. But yeah, just whenever I think there's something interesting, then we'll do one of these. So a quick channel update. Still going strong. Like I said, we're doing videos if you're new to the channel, welcome. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for watching. We are actually at, I think the last time I did one of these was just after breaking 1,000 subscribers, which is still a pretty cool accomplishment, if I do say so myself. Small compared to a lot of other YouTube channels, but hey, we're getting there. And I haven't looked for a little while, but last I looked, I think we were hovering right around like 1,066 or 1,068, somewhere in there, subscribers. So even since, in probably the, month and a half or so since I've done my last video, one of these, we're still attracting new subscribers. So again, thanks for joining the Illegally Cited channel. And for those who are new, I update the channel. I will pretty much always have a video every Wednesday, every Saturday, and then from time to time, maybe it's a holiday, maybe there's something just really cool happened that I just really got to get out there, and I don't want to wait for a schedule. I like just within the last week or so, I released a video right after the new Windows 10 update came out, because there is a really kind of cool audio feature that I found is going to be very useful for me, and might be useful for a lot of other people, and it might get overlooked. So go ahead and check that out. It's a pretty short video, but hopefully she'll be pretty helpful for you guys. So yeah, I'll do sometimes I'll do more than 2 videos per week. If I'm doing a particularly long Let's Play, which I don't do too many of, but when I do, sometimes I'll do, like, there'll be 5 videos, one every weekday or something like that. I've done, like last year I did what was it? It was a VR playlist. VR theme park, where we looked at a whole bunch of, like, roller coasters and, like carnival-esque experiences, because there's a couple of them out there. And yeah, so just like I said, at least twice a week, Wednesday, Saturday, you can pretty much count on that. And the way I really do my content, it's a mixture of sometimes I'll record content and release it right away, and those are more for the things that are really timely. Like if I record a video with some thoughts on an event, say E3 videos. Those are going to be coming up in June next month. God, that's insane to say that already. Also in June, WWDC. I know we have a whole bunch of Apple iPhone or iOS users and stuff here. So I usually try to cover major Apple events because I too have an iPhone and iPad. Not so much into the Mac, but I do use the iPhone, the iPad, especially the iPhone constantly. So again, probably going to be a lot of bonus videos for you guys next month. That's going to be a busy time for me and the channel, Illegally Cited. Got a bunch of E3 stuff coming up. Got WWDC. Right now, we actually have 2 events going on this week as I'm recording this. Was it last week or the week before? Facebook had their, what do they call it, F8 conference. To be honest with you, I really couldn't tell you much about what happened there because those of you who followed my channel for a while, I'm not really a fan of Facebook. I've said it before, and I have an account, but I'm lucky if I check it once or twice a year. Like, my parents are on it constantly. It's actually pretty funny now that they have iPads. My parents are like, if they get a free time, they sit down for a couple minutes or something, gotta check Facebook. It's hilarious, actually. But just all I've never been a fan. A lot of it is, picture-based images and people putting images of text, like jokes and stuff, and then it's just a bunch of nonsense. You get all these like weird app and game invites that are just, a lot of the Facebook games I've found to be generally just pretty pointless. Admittedly, I got sucked into them for probably about a year. I'm ashamed to say, maybe around 2008 or 9, I got sucked into a couple. Never got into the Farmville thing, but I play, I'm ashamed to say I played a little Mafia Wars for a little while. And playing is if that's being really generous. There's no skill, there's no actual gameplay. You basically click until you run out of energy, and then you wait, and then you click more and watch bars go up. And if you want those bars to go quicker, you pester the hell out of your friends and your Facebook contacts. So, yeah, that's kind of another reason I really stopped dealing with Facebook, because I just don't care. However, I am sort of interested, at least in Facebook passively, because, of course, I am wearing an Oculus Rift right now, and they do have, Facebook now owns Oculus, so yeah, I kind of got to pay attention to Facebook to some degree. And that is something actually that has just happened in the last, 2 or 3 weeks? 2 weeks? The Oculus Go has come out. Now, this is something that I was initially really excited about. They announced it at one of the Oculus events, late last year or mid to late last year? And the Oculus Go is, right now I'm using the Oculus Rift, which is, the high-end headset. We got the 2 camera sensors here. We've got the touch controllers. I have full head tracking, full, 6 degrees of freedom, where I can turn my head, I can look up and down, but I can lean forward or backward or, whatever direction. There's a lot more fidelity. And then, like I said, your hands are tracked. I can, hey, how's it going? I can do all that. And all this is connected to a high-end PC. The Oculus Go is kind of a step between your cell phone virtual reality, like your Gear VR and Google Cardboard, and your Oculus Rift, although I would say it's much, much more close to the cell phone end of things. As a matter of fact, the processor in the Oculus Go is actually kind of around, let's see if I can cross this river here. It's actually a lot more close to like last year's spec cell phone, so it's, Not going to win any super powerful uh, power awards or anything like that, but what you can do with that is this is a standalone, the Oculus Go is a standalone headset. You don't connect it to a computer. You don't plug your phone into this VR headset. It is all self-contained. You have the processor, you have the lenses, the screens, you have the, it's got a headphone jack. It's got a basic controller, basically the same one that comes with the Gear VR, or it's very similar, if not identical. And the thing is that, so it's $200. That is the major selling point for the Oculus Go. It's got VR, virtual reality has gone down in price over the last year or so. By the time I invested in my Oculus Rift and touch controllers, what was it? I think I paid like $600 for the Rift when it originally came out. And remember, the touch controllers didn't come out till later that fall. Like it was like early December of 2016. So I dumped about probably $700 or better bucks into my my VR headset here. Not to mention the cost of my PC and its video card and all of its stuff. Now we can get an Oculus Rift for what, $350, $400 I've seen on sale. Which, yeah, it sucks I paid as much as I did for it, but like I said, I don't regret it because I've actually gotten a lot of opportunity. I've gotten to make a lot of connections with some great people about VR accessibility. I've gotten to do that presentation last year, the ID24 presentation on VR accessibility for low vision. Like I said, there may be some more possibilities in the future. Kind of doing some talking with some people, and there might be some opportunities coming up. But VR has kind of been, it's definitely been an enthusiast hobby. It is not, people just out of the, aren't going to get VR out of the blue. Hey, I thought, critters, hey, how you doing? Walking over the bridge here. The Oculus Go, though, at $200, it lacks some of the fidelity, it lacks some of the fine control and head tracking, but especially if you are fully sighted, it's a heck of a deal because there's a lot of apps. Everything was available for Gear VR is pretty much available for the Oculus Go, so there's already a huge library of content out there for Gear VR. And there's also some new stuff that came out along the launch of Oculus Go. Now, like I said, I was originally really interested because I'm like, oh, this would be great. I want to show other people what virtual reality is like. And I've sort of gotten the chance to do that with a couple of, Google Cardboard VR headsets with my iPhone. And it's been okay, but not great. But this one would be like, yeah, okay, this might be the ticket. Here's the problem, and here's why my interest in it kinda dropped significantly. Not terribly long ago, maybe a month or two ago, I learned that the Oculus Go does not support any sort of head tracking. I can turn my head, I can look up and down. So that's basically you have 3 degrees of freedom, or 3 degrees of tracking. But like, again, one of the things, what do I always talk about in my VR videos? I talk about head tracking. I talk about being able to lean in. I gotta read this interface. I gotta get close to an object in the environment. And currently, there's no way to do that with the Oculus Go. I know companies are working on a concept called inside-out tracking, which basically uses some cameras on your headset to basically look at your environment and go, oh, there's an object there, or as you're moving forward, backward, left, or right, or whatever, it's going to kind of calculate that you are moving in your environment and kind of adjust accordingly. And interestingly, the same week that Oculus debuted the Oculus Go, Lenovo, I can't remember what the heck the name of theirs is called at the moment, but they released a headset that does, a standalone headset that does have some inside out tracking, which I really looked into because I thought, okay, this might be another option that might be more accessible to me. Problem with that one is it's $400, so it's more expensive, which is understandable to a degree. But the problem is that it's based on the Google Daydream VR lineup of apps and games and such. And the problem with that is there's not as much content out there. And even though the headset technically supports this, more of 6 degrees of freedom, right now there's not, other than maybe a couple to a few apps that just came out with the launch, there's nothing that really supports it, including, I think, the overall interface. So, that's honestly my main concern with both Oculus Go and any kind of VR, be it connected to your computer, your phone, or standalone. I got to be able to see it. I got to be able to read it. I got to be able to interact with it. And the 6 degrees of tracking, head tracking, is very much an important part of that, the key part of that. So, the Oculus Go, the Oculus Go, my interest in it really kind of lessened. And contrary to what I initially thought, I'm like, oh, I got to get me one of these. Nope, I decided not to. Although, funnily enough, I had to do a little bit of traveling for work earlier this week. And I did a little overnight trip to a different part of the state and met up with somebody who actually purchased a Oculus Go. So I have actually tried one. And there are things about it that I do like, but we're not quite there enough for me to, for a minute I was really close to reversing my stance and going, you know what, I'm gonna want this headset. Oh wow, it is, we got a wind tunnel down here, man, in between this little canyon here. We'll get out of this noisy area here shortly. But, yeah, I tried the Oculus Go. And so here's the thing. As far as accessibility-wise, there are parts of it that are doable. So the setup is actually done through an Android or iPhone app. And what I will say is a good portion of that app, from the limited time I had to play with it, is accessible to VoiceOver. So you can browse the store, you can buy an app, you can buy a game or an experience, and when you do that, it'll shoot it over to your Oculus Go. It'll shoot it over to your headset. That's awesome, and that's what got me originally excited. It's like, hey, could I use this like I use the Oculus desktop app for my Rift? If I could manage and launch and uninstall, all that kind of stuff. If I could do that for all my apps, and then if all I had to do on the headset itself was put on, launch the app on my phone, it'll say, okay, headset, launch it, and then I just have to deal with each app's accessibility. You know what? Then I might just have actually caved and bought one. But it turns out, at least to what we found out so far, you can search the store, you can buy an app, you can get it installed, but there doesn't seem to be like a library to view on your phone. So like when you look at the store page for an app you have installed, it just has a grayed out button that says installed. I was hoping that maybe that button would switch to a, like when you do that in the Rift store, if you're on a store page, the button turns from like a buy or a price, it turns to start, and then boom, I can launch the app right from my desktop to my headset. That capability does not seem to be happening on the Go. Likewise, you don't have the ability, from what I can tell, you don't have the ability to uninstall an app from the phone. So you have to uninstall through the headset. Now, okay, you've set up the Wi-Fi, you've connected, you've downloaded some apps to the Go. Okay, so we've got that far. What about the headset itself? Well, it does have one feature that's actually really nice. There is a voice command feature, which I can see where to click with my little touch controller that you get. So if you can't see the interface to launch an application and you know what you have on there, you can simply say launch, hit the thing and say launch whatever. And it even has a wake up code word, so you can say like, what did it say? Like, I think you say, hey Oculus, and then launch whatever you want to do. So that gets that part of that accessibility. Again, we're so close. We're there, like, seeing the app, seeing the voice command, I'm like, oh, I might want to get an Oculus Go. You can't uninstall, and just getting around the phone or the headset interface is a little tricky. I can see some things. I can't read any of the text. Basically, it's kind of like your Oculus dashboard if you're looking in the Rift headset. You've got all, and some of the other app interfaces that you've seen where basically you have especially a lot of the media, like the video video apps that I've shown you guys, where you have some sort of like a grid of stuff in front of you, way out in front of you a ways, and then there's a couple of buttons on the bottom, you got a couple tabs up on the top, and like I said, I can kind of see that stuff is there, but there's going to be a lot of experimentation of like, I don't know what this says, but we're just going to have to click on it and see, and hopefully I don't screw anything up too badly. You can uninstall from the headset, basically similarly to the library view on the Rift, but it's very, very hard to see. In the bottom right corner of each tile, when you're looking at the app list, you have to know that that's the app you want, and then in the very bottom, you just kind of guess if you can't see it well. And if you click in the bottom corner, there's actually a little dot menu, and you get a little menu, and the bottom option is uninstall. So if I wanted to fight with it, if I really wanted to fight with it, I probably could. If there was some crazy sale that was maybe like, if I could get the whole setup for like $100, maybe I would do it if there was like some holiday sale. But I know Oculus is already working on one that does have more, probably more 6 degrees of tracking. There's going to be a wireless Rift eventually. There's just going to be more. So like, I mean, I already have 2 ways of playing with VR content. I have a good Oculus Rift, the full headset. I can tinker with the cardboard stuff on my iPhone. It's not great, it's not perfect, but it's there, and I can show people and whatever. So I'm gonna do my best to kind of wait it out, and hopefully maybe like the Go 2 or something, maybe they'll have, and maybe they'll learn to make their interface more accessible. just by the fact of maybe you can actually lean into the interface and read things, or they'll come up with some common sense and maybe make the text a little bigger, that kind of a thing. So I am glad that I'm actually able to give you guys at least some impressions of the Oculus Go. Because like I said, at one time I was very excited about it, a little bit less so for a while, and then when I got to try it, I'm like, this could almost work, but we're not quite there yet. So that's the Oculus Go. I'm surprised I got to see it so quickly after launch, but yeah, one of my friends bought it and is like, hey, check out what I got. You're gonna want to see it, and yes, I did. So there's some impressions on Oculus Go. As far as the other stuff at Facebook's F8 event, I honestly don't have a clue. I really didn't follow it that closely. This week, as I'm recording this, we both started out. We had on Monday, Microsoft Build came out, so that conference started, and that's basically for developers of the Microsoft platform. They had like a keynote Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday this week, different ones. I watched part of the first one, but like it was 3 hours long, and I was super busy at work this week, and so no, I couldn't watch all the keynotes. You just go look up like Microsoft Build 2018 summary or something. I know The Verge does them. I think CNET does some summaries where they clip together, little key pieces of the keynotes, and then you can catch up on it that way. But really, and then Tuesday, while this whole thing is going on, Google, the same week, goes ahead and does their Google I/O event. So they're doing stuff for developers. And so, yeah, just like I said, both of them in the same week. And again, like for me, I was super busy at work Monday and Tuesday. I was actually on the road seeing like 5 or 6 clients. Yesterday was just writing a whole bunch of reports and catching up back in the office. Today getting some other miscellaneous stuff done. So I really haven't had, other than catching maybe some of these summaries and stuff and catching a few things via Twitter, I haven't been able to catch up on all these notes or all these events and stuff that's happening. But what I do know is the major thing that really seems to be happening with both Microsoft and Google is AI. Microsoft is doing some really cool stuff. Google is doing some really cool stuff. Both of them actually mentioned accessibility, and they both had sessions on accessibility. I did watch. They posted a couple of sessions, and I did retweet it, so you can follow me on Twitter at BGFH79. Yesterday, I believe it was, I retweeted a playlist that Google is adding. They have a couple of their accessibility-based sessions listed there, and I watched 1 or 2 of those yesterday. So, both of them are doing that. You have Microsoft with Seeing AI and Hearing AI, and sound, or no, it was not Hearing AI, Soundscape. There's one for like the hard of hearing. Is it Audioscape? No, I forget what the other one was called. But like I said, they're doing stuff. Google actually just announced. Can't remember the name of it. It's not out yet, but it sounds like they're going to be doing some cool stuff with. They're making kind of. I'm thinking it's going to be almost like a kind of a Seeing AI, multi-tool type of app for Google devices, and I don't know if I don't know if some of this is just going to have to be built into only Google devices, or if Google, like Microsoft, will. I mean, granted, Microsoft isn't really doing their smartphone platforms anymore because, their Windows phones are kind of dead, unfortunately, these days. So Microsoft has to put their stuff on either Android or iOS, but Google has a vested interest in like, well, we'll put some of our stuff out here, but they have their own platform to support. So I'm hoping that some of this accessibility stuff from Google does in fact come to iOS, because a lot of their search assistant does. I mean, all their Google Sheets, Docs, all that kind of stuff, all that does. Oh, is this our wind tunnel? Yep, that's our wind tunnel. I'll stay out of that so it's not so loud for you guys. Um, but yeah, I mean, there's just so much stuff. Um, so I'm really interested to see what that accessibility stuff is. Google Assistant, they're adding new voices. Like, what did they say? 5 or 6 new voices. They're doing. They did this whole thing, which seems really cool, but seems kind of creepy, and like it'll be kind of misused. Like, you think robocalls or like being able to tell things apart now is interesting. They did this demo of like they made a couple of calls to real businesses. One was like making a hair a haircut appointment reservation, uh, and then the other one was, what was it, like making a restaurant reservation, I think it was. And they're basically showing like this assistant. It was fully voiced. It made the call to the actual business, and basically you gave it the parameters, or it would look at your calendar, and say, okay, like I want to get a haircut on Tuesday, and then it would just look at your calendar, call up the place, and it would have this natural conversation, even putting a little or the one call, there's like, oh, okay, let me just pull that up here, hold on a second, and the AI was like, mm-hmm. So it was really cool. On one hand, it kind of blew my mind, but on the other hand, it's like, oh god, now if you start getting like AI calls that you really can't tell if it's a human or not, like, is this real, or there could be some stuff with that in the future. I don't know, but like, I mean, I can see, like I said, especially as an accessibility tool. Think about somebody who is nonverbal, or who, maybe they have like a motor impairment, like a speech impediment or something, where it is harder to, or even, language barriers and stuff. Having that AI, like, you give it some general parameters. Here, you look at my calendar. I would like to have this something scheduled today or tomorrow or this week. And then, having this AI be able to assist you with that kind of a thing, I could see that being really kind of neat. That has some really interesting accessibility potential. Hey, buddy. Hey, how you doing? You look really small. Huh, okay, cool. Um, but yeah, so like I said, Google's doing some really crazy stuff with AI. There's another thing that looks really neat, and I hope to God it comes to the iOS version of Google Maps. I was trying to find more information about it, but I didn't, other than what they showed briefly during one of the keynote summaries. Google Maps is getting this like street view feature, where like it has a little bit of the map on the bottom, but then it like shows you the street view of like where you are, and then it has like it showed like these arrows, like if it was directions, it would show you like and it was meant for like walking mode. So like you'd be walking, and then it would show, kind of like in a video game like Saints Row, or something, where you had these like glowy arrows pointing to like, okay, turn to the left here or something. And then also, like, if you did something, you look at like a building in front of you, it would pop up like a little tooltip, and it's like, oh, that's what this building is. And then I could imagine if that would be accessible with talkback or voiceover, like just touching that and going, oh, okay, that's what this is, or maybe I want to make a stop on the way. And then they were experimenting with, like, in addition to having the arrows in the environment, having an actual guide. So like you could have like I forget what animal they had showing you, but you could have this like augmented reality. You could have like a person, or you could have an animal, I could imagine, and like, oh, what do we got up here? Um, but you could actually have an augmented reality guide. So, just imagine like, okay, follow me, and then you could just follow this animal or follow this person. That looked really, really cool. Combine that with like accessibility, having having text to speech support via voiceover, or oh, I can go in here. Nice. Um, but yeah, I mean, combining that looked really, really neat. So I definitely want to know more about this Google Maps update, when it's coming out, and I hope it's not going to be an Android thing. I hope that is also going to come to iOS. Um, Sadly, I could kind of see that being an Android only, and it would be that'd be a really neat selling point, I think. But that looked really cool. I'm trying to remember if I remember anything else from Google itself. Like I said, there's just so much AI stuff out there. They're looking at tons of AI. Microsoft, again, they're talking AI too. I wonder if I can fall down here. Whee, yes I can. Okay, cool. We're gonna explore a new area, guys. Um, Again, Microsoft, they talked about accessibility. They were showcasing how they were using AI. They talked about, they had like a video that was summarizing things for like ALS and vision impairment or hearing impairment. Like, there's some of the apps, like again, Seeing AI, or there's some other ones I can't remember the name of, but it was just really, really cool to see that. Talking about what they're thinking about doing for Windows and making the phones work better with Windows. And Android is going to be better about that, probably simply because Android is more open, and Microsoft can, oh, you want to access this, or you want to partner up to share video or photo or files or whatever. Um, you know, Google, Apple, they haven't really started that much. And I just don't see the partnership working. Maybe you'll be able to shoot files back and forth or something. But honestly, I'm really, really interested to see if or what Apple does next month at WWDC, because look at what you've got here from Google, from Microsoft. Yes, they're competition. They're competing with each other, but they realize that, like, hey, um, we want you to get our content wherever. Yeah, there'll be some stuff that's exclusive, but like a large part of what we do is wide open. And Apple just does not float that way. They're stuck in this like kind of, and I'm going to go ahead and say, antiquated to a degree, this super walled garden of like, and on top of that, it's like, we will release what we want you to have, and you will either take it or, hit the highway. It's like the iPhone 10. Like, I know I read some articles and stuff that actually it was really popular, but like there is a segment of people that really don't like, some of the screen is good and stuff, but they don't like some of the features on it. Like, I'm not thrilled about Touch ID. As a voiceover user, I don't have to look at the phone all the time. So I love being able to, with Touch ID in the wintertime, I can reach my hand into my pocket. I can unlock the phone. I can manipulate it. I can do stuff with voiceover. Never have to take my hand out of the pocket in the wintertime. If I have it on my nightstand or something or whatever next to me, I'm doing something else, I can just reach over and do something with voiceover. It works great. Well, with Face ID, you can't do that. I guess unless you enter a code every time, you can just do it that way. But Apple being closed off, I don't know that they're going to allow partnership with Windows and be like, oh yeah, we're just going to have synchronization like we do on our Mac. Of course, they want you to buy their Mac computers, but that's a whole other issue. Some of those haven't been updated in years now. I mean, even their $5,000 trash can, what is that, like 4 years old? and they're still charging like $5 grand for it. Yeah, honestly, I'm a lot more excited about both Google and Microsoft right now. Like, they're doing interesting things. They're leveraging, like, the cloud. They're doing stuff with AI. They're being more open. They're trying really interesting things. Microsoft has really stepped it up as far as accessibility. Um, Google also is getting a lot better. Honestly, Apple's doing a lot more things that kind of frustrate me. I mean, look at like iOS 11.3. There's this really wicked bug, audio bug, and I don't know if it's only on like older phones. Like if you have an 8, it's fine, and because it's a fast enough processor or something. But like I have a 7 Plus, of course, and there's this audio bug like where like you'll play something and then you'll lock the screen, you have headphones on, and the audio will just like it'll stop. Like the audio will actually go on, but you won't hear anything, and it'll just be silent for a few seconds and then pick up like somebody had just lowered the volume and then it just picked back up again. Or it'll stutter, it'll skip, it'll be like a CD skipping. It's like da 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 da, and then it would just, and it happens a lot. They had really better fix that with iOS 11.4. I think what's happening is that it's actually getting like the app, when you're using an app, it's taking control. The app is in control of it, but like when you lock the screen, I don't think it's really the app as much as it is like it kind of passes the audio to some aspect of the operating system. And I think there's like some weird like miscommunication or memory leak in that process that never used to be there, because iOS 11.1 or 2 or whatever it was, anytime before that, I've never had that happen before. But it's happening a lot more, and it's really honestly starting to piss me off because it's really frustrating when it happens, and it happens all too frequently. I did beta testing, and a lot of people did beta testing the last couple iOS versions. They're not really paying attention to feedback. Like, I had a coworker of mine who said he's been doing Apple testing for a long time, and they used to really, with their testers, they would listen, they would get back, they would answer, they would ask questions, they would get feedback from your comments, they would interact with you. And I didn't get one iota. I didn't get any feedback whatsoever from Apple. And I wrote like a lot of well-detailed stuff on functionality, accessibility, the smart zoom feature of iOS 11, that kind of a thing. And yeah, I don't know what to really think anymore. But honestly, the main thing that keeps me coming back, the thing that keeps me staying with Apple right now anyway, is their vast App Store library, because there are just a lot of apps that either aren't on Android at all or aren't on Android yet. There are some, I mean, frustrations aside, Apple has its, it's doing some things with VoiceOver especially that just very, very well. There are little things like the rotor. There are little things like the kind of the rotor, like the actions rotor, where you're in a message and you can flick up and down to quickly delete without having to search the screen for certain on-screen buttons or controls. They're just some like really nice like efficiency time saver things that I really like about VoiceOver. And when I use my Samsung tablet with Android and TalkBack or the Samsung thing, it's good. But it's just, there's certain things that I just don't like quite as much, and I'm just really like some of the conveniences that VoiceOver has really afforded me over the last few years. So, I mean, I'm looking, like I said, I have an Android tablet, and like I said, maybe one of these days I will go to I may try an Android phone for a cycle and see what happens, but I just don't know. Keep my old one on hand and just have something to go back and forth between. I don't know. But yeah, Microsoft and Google are doing some really interesting stuff. Check out their summaries for their events. A lot of stuff with AI, a lot of stuff with the cloud. I mean, Cortana is getting better. Um, Google Assistant is really good. You know, even Amazon with their Echo. I'm not going to say her name because she's listening. That's pretty good. Siri is just kind of dumb. I mean, really, honestly, that's the other thing that they really have to address. I mean, if they want to compete with Google, if they want to compete with Amazon, if they want to compete with Microsoft, like they have got to drastically improve their Siri because honestly, I saw an article just this morning. Forget who it was. They did some like 150 questions to all of the assistants, and like Google won it with like 80% accuracy. I think Microsoft or no, Amazon was right behind it, like with like what was it, 70s or something, high 70s or something, and then Apple was way down at like 50%. And the one guy's like, if I ever have to hear this phrase again, um, oh, let me check the web for here are some web results or whatever she always says. Like, like, I don't want to hear that again. They drastically have to improve Siri, so I'm genuinely curious to see next month what, if at all, Apple is going to do to basically either open themselves up a little bit more, let them communicate with some of these other apps from Microsoft and from Google, fix Siri, fix bugs. I know they're talking about iOS 12 being kind of a fixer-upper year, kind of like iOS 10 did, but, we'll just have to wait and see. So those are the events, kind of. I know I didn't go into a lot of detail, but there is some good stuff there if you want to look out for that. Check out some tech podcasts, like I said, for people who are actually there and can talk about it with much better, much better authority and accuracy than I can at the moment. But a lot of busy stuff coming in, and like I said, as far as the channel goes, we're going to do some WWDC stuff next month. E3, I'm definitely going to record some thoughts on that, as I always do. There's, I just heard there is some leaks potentially from, what was it, like Walmart or somewhere in Canada? They accidentally released like a whole bunch of placeholders for like upcoming games. Some we probably could easily guess. Some were actually kind of a surprise, and if they do come out, I'm gonna be or if they do get announced, I'm gonna be surprised. Like main one, Rage 2. I didn't mind Rage. I do want to cover it on the channel. That was from Bethesda and id Software. That was right before John Carmack left id Software for Oculus. Rage was this open world first person shooter. It had some driving. You had this kind of buggy Jeep thing that you could go around the environment. The shooting was really good, and there were really interesting parts about it, but people had mixed feelings. I would love to try it again now that I have a more powerful rig and a better video card to try it again. I should really go back to that, especially if they do announce a sequel. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff. I'm not even going to really talk about it because all it is speculation at this point. We'll cross that bridge when we get there next month. This video is going on long enough on its own. I'm trying to think of anything else before we wrap up. Like I said, what are we doing for the future? What am I doing on the channel? Like I said, I have a lot of things in the fire right now. I'm actually helping a game developer right now. You may, if you notice on AppleVis, there's a thread about I forget the exact title, but it's like basically getting a game, making a game like Audio Defense, because that's no longer available. All the something else games are gone. But he's working on this game called Circus Master's Revenge, and he approached me actually had some questions for me and asked if I wanted to be kind of a part of the team and help out with that and give my feedback. And I'm going to do some beta testing for that when the time comes. And I really, really hope it's good. I really want it to be good. I think it has a lot of potential to be good. I don't want to give too many details here because, like I said, I don't, I'm not under NDA or anything specifically, but like I said, I've been in communication with the guy. He said on the website he's got some voice actor lined up for the main antagonist. I've heard a little bit of audio for that, and there's a lot of cool potential for that. Um, it's not zombies, but it's kind of a similar type of gameplay style, and I'm really excited to uh, see what this game is, see what this game will become, because I would love to have another action game in the similar style of gameplay to Audio Defense, because there is something about having the gyroscope controls. You got your headphones on, you're spinning around looking like a dork, but you're like shooting zombies and stuff. Like, oh man, I want that. I want to return to that gameplay. I've been doing some other beta tests for games and apps. Giving feedback on a couple of other items. I am actually um, I am working with a company a little bit on some interesting accessibility stuff, but that's all I'm gonna say because I actually am under NDA for that. So I'm not going to tell you who it is. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but like I said, I'm getting involved in some accessibility stuff there, and it's been really fun so far, and I'm really excited to see what becomes of that in the next short while. So like I said, aside from my full time, and I have a full time job as well. Um, so there's a lot of stuff going on in my life right now. I just got over late last month. A coworker was so kind enough to give me some sort of a head cold T-virus thing that really sucked, actually. I was I was out of commission for a few days. I felt like crap for about a week. Um, I'm fully back to normal now, except for my right ear is still sort of, like it's mostly pop, but it like just doesn't, there's something that just fully doesn't completely want to unclog. It like will start to fully unclog, and then it kind of plugs up again. But we're almost there. So other than that, we're back to normal. So that's good. What else? I did just enter the land of drones. Coworker of mine a few weeks ago showed me this tiny little drone that was actually affordable. I've always been curious about a drone, but I'm not going to be one of those that spends, five, 600, over $1,000 for a drone. I'm not going to fly it over the, over the neighborhood. Partly because I'm just not super interested in doing that, and partly because it would be really hard visually. Like I can't see the thing. What if it lands somewhere where I don't know where it is? But there's this, it's called the Tello, Tello drone, Tello drone. And it's a $99 drone that you can control with your iPhone or Android phone. You can use it with a couple of controllers, which I haven't gotten yet, but I've just done the phone control. But it's this little tiny, probably about that big. It's funny that I can actually do this in VR. Like I can show you my hands, but yeah, it's probably like that big. It's like a little quadcopter thing, and it's mainly for indoors. It's got a camera, so basically, the way I do it is I can kind of see, like, I can see where the drone is, but I can't see the details, so I can't tell like what direction it's facing. So I can look at my phone, and it'll always show me the POV camera shot of like what it's looking at. So just like I was controlling a video game, like I can kind of I can kind of use the controls to like rotate or move. But it's really the touch controls are really sensitive. And like I think I'm actually amazed. Like it's such a small drone, but like it pushes out so much air that I think what happens is like if I get close to like a wall or an object or something, the air just kind of goes whoosh, and it kind of pushes it so it doesn't just stay in one spot. It kind of drifts a little bit. So I'm still trying to learn how to see if I can get better at flying it. And I'm going to be basically flying it indoors. I had it at work yesterday. Played with it a little bit there. Just had a coworker who has the bigger version of this drone. He showed me a little bit about it, and I tested the app. And the app accessibility is some of it is accessible. The actual controls aren't. But a lot of the button and interface stuff is, and I'll talk about that more in a future video when I do a review of the Tello drone. So that's a review that I'm going to be doing here probably within the next month or so-ish. So yeah, I mean, I have a drone. I played with it a little bit at work and has some funny stories there. Played with it at home last night a little bit and crashed it several times into the wall or whatever, just trying to navigate and, move through my apartment. It's really neat, but I suck. I suck at controlling it. So I've got a drone review coming up. I got some other hardware reviews. I've got an interesting phone case that I really, really wanted to like, but did I? Well, I don't know. We'll see. We've got a couple more. Yes, I got a couple more headphones, but they're actually really good. Both of these pair of headphones I really, really like. So if you want some other, I kind of have for Bluetooth headsets now. I've finally, after like 3 years of searching, I found my combo. I have my music and closed off media. I want to be isolated pair, and then I have my kind of, lightweight. I can still hear what's going on. Really handy pair. So I finally found. I think I'm happy with my Bluetooth headsets. And of course I have my PX22s that I really like for my PC. So yeah, we're good there. Like I said, we've got the E3 stuff coming up. We got the drone stuff. I'm actually, like I said, there's so much content already recorded. I probably have like, what are there, like 20, maybe 20 videos per page on, when you're looking at the video manager of videos I have on my channel, and I'm editing or managing that stuff. And I think I'm on like, not all of them are empty, but like, I'm on page like 7 or 8. So like the first 7 pages, there's some videos I've already released for you guys, but like I said, literally there's probably a good, couple dozen videos that I've already even recorded. Hope to do a lot more this weekend. Now that I have free time and I feel better again and I have a lot of ideas. But I'm actually starting a new playlist pretty soon that I've thought about doing for a while, but I just haven't figured out how or what I want to do with it. But I recorded my first video for a new playlist that's going to be coming out here sometime in the near future, called Game Speak. And the Game Speak series is basically going to be another accessible games playlist, but these are games that you can play purely by listening and by using your voice with one of your home speakers, one of your smart speakers. So your Google Home or your Amazon Echo. The first video that I recorded was actually kind of fun. I got kind of addicted to it for a couple days there. And I'm going to record, I have another couple that I actually want to record before I forget them. I have one recorded for the home already, and I want to do 1 or 2 for the Echo. So yeah, we're going to have another playlist of accessible games via smart speaker, and that playlist is going to be called Game Speak. So yeah, lots of stuff to come up. Again, all the events, E3, WWDC. We got the summer conventions coming out. We've got, God only knows what if they'll have any assistive technology there. I would love to get my hands on one of those cheap braille displays I talked about earlier. Um, I don't think I'm really going to be able to do some of those headsets that I did earlier because it's a kind of a little gray area with work. You know, it's technically through work and like, you know, I'm not profiting or anything, but like there's some shady stuff with like, can I moonlight and that kind of a thing if I use, you know, I don't really want to use tools that I have from work. There may be a possibility I could get in trouble for that. So I don't know how that's going to go, but we'll see. Anyway, I think that's pretty much all I wanted to talk about. Want to tell you about the events, the accessibility stuff, the drone, the channel. Just a lot of, like I said, I'm just super busy right now working. But I'm honestly, I'm having so much fun doing a lot of these side projects. Like having started the YouTube channel a few years back, I really didn't think that it would really come to where we are right now. Like I said, I'm making a lot of great connections on Twitter, on YouTube itself. Even like I said, through companies. I've been contacted by Microsoft. I've been contacted by game developers. I've been contacted by, you know, I had that, you know, that Forza thing earlier this year. Through Microsoft, I've had like game developers been doing beta tests. Just had a lot of interesting things going right now, and this is actually, like I said, doing this kind of almost like producer stuff, um, like producer slash consulting slash beta testing, or you know, QA, all this kind of combination stuff. I think it's a blast. So I've been having a lot of fun with it, and yeah, hopefully things will just keep getting more interesting, getting better in the future. But that is the kind of long, rambling video for May channel update for May 2018. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Follow me on Twitter at BGFH79. Definitely check out some of the other videos and playlists that I've been talking about. Like them, like the videos, subscribe to the channel. Check out illegallyscited.com. I know it's a very, very basic website, but hey, it exists. It's there. Hopefully I'll be able to do something with it more later. Join the Steam group, Illegally Cited Steam group. I got to check more into that too. See if any activity has been happening lately. It's been pretty dead last I looked, but maybe that's picked up too. I don't know. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the video. And until next time, I will talk to you guys again later.